The Gospel according to John is the first of the Gospels in both its historical form and in its origins in a text written about Bacchus, which is, over 90%. I don't remember exactly what percent, but over 90% the same text. And yes, I'm including the writings out of Bacchus and some other names and re-putting in, Jesus. The Gospel, according to John, is unquestionably the latest of the four, except in manuscript and other ways of looking at it. But as far as what the people believed and said without basis, it stands apart from the three synoptic Gospels in purpose, method, and spirit, written about a thesis that Jesus was not merely the human Messiah expected by the Jews, but was also in very truth the divine Son of God. It presents a rearrangement and reinterpretation of the events of his life to prove its argument, while also the influence of Alexandrian and Greek philosophy is evident in the doctrine of the Logos, or Word, set forth in the prologue. The Gnostic flavor. If you interpret it, then anybody can become the Son of God. But, again, it's not literal. But the author was less a biographer than a religious mystic for whom the inner life was all important. The shift in emphasis from works to faith, from conduct to mystic union, which is also evident in the writings of Paul, is here carried very much further. The love of man, which the book preaches, rests upon, is inspired by, and is often only a symbol of the love for God. The love of man for God and the love of God for man are marvelously intertwined as the central theme of the work. Now, if you want a text that's very more detailed than the Bible, the Quran has 56 verses of love by and for God. Even in the noun sense, it's, many will objectively say it does better with the subject, more comprehensive and stuff like this, but the verb sense is the more focused thing in that thing. So there's 7 verses in tonic, and in what they call the New Testament, there's 4 verses really of this theme, but that are explicit. A further contrast to the Synoptic Gospels is furnished by the fact that the Gospel according to John has no difference between the style of the speeches attributed to Jesus and that of the rest of the book in it. It's a representative thing, obviously. Whoever may have been the author, he was most certainly not the Apostle John, but someone who much later reworked the gospel story with the utmost freedom to make it express what he considered ultimate religious truth. Now, it was written in the 90s after the book of Revelation, which was also a rewrite from not as far back, but the beginning of the 1st century. The Gospel according to John, prologue. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The same was in the beginning with God. All things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. And the light shineth in darkness, and the darkness comprehendeth it not. Now, Mitra and Varuna, the Mithra, in the Persian way of looking at it, we can look at that element coming in and influencing, more than 5,000 years ago, these cults appeared, whether or not, they're like angels, or whether or not, some people worship them as separate gods or something. The comparison draws very similar. Also in Hindu mythology, well, Hindu is not quite the right way for it, but you know what I mean. The religions they call Hinduism, a common theme, not universal, because there is no such thing among those 70,000 religions, really. I don't have an exact number, but the creation by the word and then light. By sound and then light. God's actions, God's qualities aren't separate from God, is one of the things that comes across there. John the Baptist and Jesus. There was a man sent from God whose name was John. The same came for a witness, to bear witness of the light, that all men through him might believe. He was not that light, but was sent to bear witness of that light. That was the true light. See, same, so he would have been the son in that instance, but we find out that in, Christ is Lucifer. Watch that video. It's not, which lighteth every man that cometh into the world. He was in the world, and the world was made by him, and the world knew him not. He came into his own, and his own received him not. But as many as received him, to them gave he power to become the sons of God, even to them that believe on his name, which are born not of blood, nor of the will of the flesh, nor the will of man, but of God. And the Word was made flesh and dwelt among us, and we beheld his glory, the glory as of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth. Now, see, again, if we look at that Gnostically, incarnated by those who were surrendered unto God and, manifesting his way. John bore witness of him and cried, saying, This was he of whom I spoke. He that cometh after me is preferred before me, for he was before me. And of his fullness have we all received. The pleroma, again, very important. Gnostic is kind of like the angels and that sort of thing. And grace for grace, for the law was given by Moses, but grace and truth came by Jesus Christ. No man hath seen God at any time. So, see, it's not that he was God incarnate. The only begotten Son, which is the bosom of the Father, he hath declared him. So the whole Gnostic thing, the Son being the knower, the sent one, the avatar, and this is the record of John, when the Jews sent priests and Levites from Jerusalem to him. Who art thou? And he confessed and denied not, but confessed, I am not the Christ. And he asked him, What then? Art thou Eliyahu? And he saith, I am not. Art thou that prophet? And he answered, No. So, they were expecting a final prophet, basically. And I do believe that there was, come an end to God sending new prophets. It's just like completely unnecessary, it's like, and he answered, No. Then said they unto him, Who art thou, that we may give an answer to them that sent us? What sayest thou of thyself? He said, I am the voice of one crying in the wilderness, make straight the way of God as a noun and verb, as said the prophet Yeshayahu. And they that were sent of the Pharisees, and they asked him, and said unto him, Why baptizest thou then, if thou be not the Christ, nor Eliyahu, neither that prophet? Well, people can certainly carry on the transmission without, John answered them, saying, I baptize with water, but there standeth one among you, whom ye know not. He it is, who, coming after me, is preferred before me, whose shoe latchet I am not worthy to unloose. These were the things done in Bethbara beyond Jordan, where John was baptizing.